So this is a strategy session. I'm going to explain to you the various components that are there in planning your high schooler. I hope there are high school parents here, more of high school parents than middle school, to plan out your high schoolers' next steps. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm a success academic coach, study skills coach. I'm also a college counselor, and I'm a meditation instructor as well. My purpose is to help teens and kids reach their maximum potential. So this is my qualification. I'm a Tony Robbins certified life coach. I've done a Core 100 program with them. I'm a positive psychology coach. I'm an executive functioning coach. I've trained under Peg Dawson. Those are the 11 skills that you absolutely need in the teen years. I'm doing my college counseling from UC Berkeley, and I'm a meditation instructor. I also have an associate, Anne Shields. She is a Myers-Briggs certified coach, and she does career counseling, and she's wonderfully experienced, and I'm really glad to have her. Okay, so let's get started. The webinar, I'm going to go over the admission process. I'm going to talk about academics, extracurriculars, SAT, SAT strategy, essays, everything that you pretty much need for college planning. Ninad, is my volume okay? Volume's okay?
It looks good from my end, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so what does a college admission process look like? So basically it has 5 steps, okay? First, the application is received. For example, I'm going to give you an example of Duke. Okay, so whatever region you are at, for example, I'm in Pennsylvania. Like Chester County or whatever. So there may be one admissions officer for Pennsylvania. So that officer receives all the application from Pennsylvania. So it could be from the Downingtown School District, Great Valley, or anywhere. So they receive the application, they look over it and they say, oh, wow, this child could potentially be good for Duke. And they go to the admissions committee, which is comprised of admission officers from all over the country. And they sit down and discuss, and they brainstorm which child will work best in Duke, for example. And then they vote. After the voting is when you get the acceptance, denial, or wait list. So this is the process for highly selective schools, the top 10 schools. This is how they work. Okay, so what are they basically looking for? Okay, yeah, I said Common App, right? It's the common application tool that you use to submit your college application in the senior year. So what is an admission officer looking for? Okay, so number 1 is grades, of course. They're looking if you're academically capable of learning in their college. Okay, that is one of the things. And what unique qualities do you bring to the student body? They just don't want students who are good at academics alone. They need like a 360-degree wholesome applicant, right? So that is one of the things. It's just like we parents, we go to buy fruits, right? We are able to get the best looking apple to make our to make our family healthy and everything. So you know how to pick the fruit, right? It has to look good, it has to look fresh, it shouldn't have any dents. So similarly, that's what an application officer is looking for in a student's profile, okay? How well can I, is the student going to come, like be immensely successful, go out in the world and get tons of alumni money? That's about it. So they are able to identify that. Okay. And also, what impact has the applicant had so far? Okay. What impact? That's 4 years from 9th grade. What impact have they done? And what is their potential? So that is what needs to come out in the application process and in your application. Okay. So a critical part is also putting everything together. Got it? So that is there. And this is a sample acceptance letter from Duke. I'm referring to Duke because I have this letter, and it'll be better to explain it. So you see here, the common application had projects and research that showed that that student really challenged himself, was very serious about the career that he was pursuing, and his application stood out. So this is a handwritten note that goes to say what they are looking for. Okay, so let me come to the academic factors. What are they looking for in academic factors? Number one is quality. Number two is rigor. Number three is like academic performance grades, the test scores. I'm sorry, I should have removed the SAT subject test, it's old. Okay, so for academics, they're going to look at maximum rigor, right? They have a secondary school report, so they know about all schools. It's not like some schools have very rigorous curriculum, like they would allow APs only after like in the junior and the senior year. Colleges know that, so you don't have to worry if your child has like 80 APs compared to another child, another school district who has like 16 or 20 APs. So they know that, okay? And also you need to have an unweighted GPA of 3.8 plus. Okay, and it has to like significantly be sliding upwards. Okay, course selection is also important. So your course selection has to match with the career progression that you're looking for. So if you're going into a pre-med track, then you need to have biology, chemistry, physics, and math, and psychology, because that's more like sort of a healthcare oriented thing. And if you're going into engineering, then STEM, then the math and everything. So all those kinds of courses need to be selected properly. So I usually work with my students to start from the freshman year itself, because there are a lot of courses that have prerequisites and everything. And there's a lot of discussion that goes on. Oh, how many years should I do the foreign language and everything? I would say build a college list, go and look at the college list, their requirements, okay? A lot of people say, okay, language needs to be done only 2 years. Is it enough? But schools like Harvard, they need to see a progression where basically you've taken the foreign language all 4 years. So I would say, like, there are no shortcuts here, or there is no sure shot confirmation that 2 is enough. No, your application, if your application has to go right on top and it has to catch the attention of application officers, then your effort has to be there. That's it. Okay, so next is course selection. You need to challenge yourself with a rigorous course load. Not that you take all your 10 APs or 4 or 3 APs in the freshman year. That's not what I'm talking about. But a successful gradation, like the way you take it, you start with honors, you get yourself used to the curriculum. And also I'll go over it when I break it down into what you need to do for each years so that you can reach your goal. So it's always good to have a plan. I'm a life. So Ninad, you want to mute people, please? Thank you. Yeah. So GPA trends also needs to keep improving, and the class rank. I don't think a lot of schools offer class rank. So if it's offered, it looks pretty good on your profile. Okay, so I just picked up a list of courses that's in our school district. You have a bunch of honors, you have a bunch of advanced placements. So you need to judiciously, oh my God, I just don't get that word, properly plan your course, because it's not like in a specific year you just load yourself with like extremely tough APs, right? You take the easy ones with the difficult ones, right? And you plan it accordingly so that you meet your goal for that one. Like you basically sit down, go sift through your course selection, your graduation requirements. A lot of schools have different graduation requirements. This is what I help my students with. Some of them have mandatory 40 hours of volunteering. They have a graduate project. So look at your graduation requirements. And a lot of schools have mandatory English every year, science every year, math every year, history every year. So I would say just pour out. Everything is available in your program of study in your schools. Okay. So yeah, basically, colleges are looking for a progression. Yes, when you come into freshman year, you take courses to get familiarized with it. And I know for a fact that you cannot do AP Physics right off the bat. Probably if you've done like a lot of stuff before or you're highly gifted, you can do that, right? So also like certain courses need to be done in the junior year because your left side of the brain is developing in a teen. They need a lot more logical, critical thinking, problem solving functioning. So I would encourage you to plan it out and map it out in such a way that you not only just take the course, but qualitatively learn out of it. See, this whole college journey should not be like a rat race where you maximize things and you stop enjoying, you stop growing, you stop building your personality. It is not a rat race. If you plan it properly, your high schooler can go along with it pretty stress-free and still reach all the requirement. I do that with my students. I've done that with my son. Right. So the crazy dude, my son, he graduated with 20 APs. I mean, he was pretty happy. He used to goof off with his brother, sleep at 10, wake up at 6, and he still could meet all that requirement. It is possible with proper study skills, planning, time management, all that. So that is something that I coach is effective study skills, effective notes taking skills, right? Knowing what your learning style is, right? Because the speed of learning has to be much faster in high school, right? That is some of the things. And I'm going to break down into the high school years. So in the freshman year, it's recommended that you look for your specific interest and your intended major. You basically map out things. You're just going to test what you like. You really don't know what you like, right? So you test it out. Okay, and of course, develop effective learning strategies. You've got to master them. You've got to know how to focus. I'm an executive functioning coach. That's the prefrontal cortex of the brain. I can explain that later. There are 11 functions. Okay, so a successful child is the one who masters executive functioning with social and communication skills. There's just no doubt about that. They need a well-rounded personality, and that's how you leverage your time. Okay, and also in the freshman year, you pursue activities that you're passionate about. You look for clubs. Yeah, you just join all the clubs. You see what you like. You try charity. Of course, it's pandemic, but there are a lot of volunteering opportunities online. So, and also volunteering and community service should not just be a line item in the Common App. No, do it with your heart. I mean, get something out of it. Learn. That's what I tell my students. It's not just to put in that hours. I mean, you have to positively contribute. Okay, the sophomore year, of course, you've got to keep your grades up. You have to challenge yourself. Then around the sophomore January timeframe is when you start practicing for standardized tests. A lot of parents think that their children need to start preparing in 9th grade. It's a waste of your money because your child would not have completed Algebra 2 or other core subjects, English prowess to be ready for the SATs. And SAT, SAT, ACT is just a component of the college admissions. So studying it earlier is not going to help you. Instead, you could use that time to maximize in school. This is what, don't quote me on this. There may be a lot of SAT, ACT instructors. My experience has been concentrated studying of 6 months. That's it. Study for 6 months with an exceptional tutor and go give the test. that's what I've seen in my students, and a lot of children around me who have been my son's friends. And also, ACT is a fairly familiar and easier test than SAT. Okay, my students have done exceptionally well in ACT, and they've struggled with SAT because it's fairly unpredictable. I think I'll have another webinar that will go into that depth, because I'm not an SAT ACT tutor. I cannot go into the depth of it, but I know for a fact, because my son struggled to get 1500. He got 1450, but he did exceptionally well at ACT, which was 34. And that has been the trend for my pre-med students, my STEM students. All my juniors have been doing exceptionally well in the ACT. Okay, in the sophomore year, you've got to look for leadership opportunities and summer activities. I have a whole slide on summer activities. Please take my advice when I tell you summer is not for academics. The concentration is not there. It's a waste of time. You need to build your community, your extracurriculars, your internship or research. Use that for summers, okay? And in the sophomore year, it's also a good idea to build a college list. So I work with my students to build a college list where I have good blend of reach, safety, and the medium-sized schools, which I'll go over how to build a college list. Okay, my students typically have 15 colleges in their college list. So basically what happens is when you build a college list, you can work backwards in what their requirements are, and you can sort of adjust and fine tune and make up for it. Okay, so that is the customizing that you've got to do with your college list. Okay, if you don't have a plan, unfortunately you're just going to be rushed in the senior year. Okay, the junior year, a very, very interesting year. I would say it's a turning point for high school. So around the October timeframe is the PSAT. The ACT and the SAT, I expect my students to have finished it in the summer. It typically takes about 2 attempts to get a good score. I'm sorry, I have to remove this subject SAT. Of course, your academics have to go up a notch, and a lot of schools only allow the junior year APs. So yes, you have to have effective study strategies. Yes, homework completion and everything. And if you're taking an AP course, it's a college level course. They're going to like kill you with homeworks and everything and pre-summer work. Okay, and junior year is where you decide what extracurriculars you want to keep and what you want to do. So I believe in not doing 10 things badly, but take on less, but do good, right? That is it. And also building your college resume, creative writing skills. Okay, that's important. Okay, so I have an internship program also. So what I do there is I ask students to write a blog. Right? So instead of asking them to write an essay, which is like, oh my God, 1,000-word essay, ooh. But you tell them a blog. I was creating a course on Amazon skills, and I told my students to research a paper and said how utilizing Alexa skills will help a student. Ooh la la, they came up with such wonderful papers. So that's a way I make my students write. And also look for summer activities and internships. The critical time, the junior to the senior year summer is extremely critical. So if you are planning on going to a specific college and they have a summer camp, you totally need to look into that. For example, if UPenn is your dream school and you want to land in their management and technology program, they I don't know about the coronavirus, but there's a management and technology summer institute that you can apply for, and also apply for competitive summer programs, because it's a whole common app process. It's like a college process where you have to apply, you have to write an essay, submit your SAT scores and grades. So I highly recommend. I mean, even if you don't go for it, just apply for it. Got it? Okay, final stretch, senior year. this is where you should finish standardized tests, but unfortunately, due to Corona and the unavailability, it's spilling over the senior year. Senior year is where I dedicated completely to working on the Common App and writing the essays. Okay, because the prompts, I'll explain about that. Comes out in August. So from August to October is when you have to be writing. You have to arrange for teacher recommendations. And yes, I can't emphasize how important your leadership and communication skills have got to be to get teacher recommendations. I've seen blah recommendations and I've seen exceptional recommendations. Counselor is the god. So you've got to hustle in school and like really have a good relationship. It's not enough if you have good grades. Recommendations are extremely important. And of course, in the senior year, you apply by the college deadline. Oh, I'm sorry, where was I? Okay. Uh, College deadline and everything. Oh, did I skip too far? Yeah, okay, no, we were not too far. Apply for scholarships and financial aid, that starts in the January. So October to sort of December, we are applying for colleges. Okay, so I'm going to talk about standardized tests now. So this is the testing formula. You have the PSAT test exam and the SAT or ACT. Okay, so PSAT, you can start taking it from your freshman year and your sophomore year. It doesn't count, but it counts for the junior year. And PSAT is for the national merit. Okay, there's a lot of scholarship that the colleges see that if you've passed this exam, it means that you're scholarship worthy, or it really boosts, it gives you a 10 times boost on your college profile if you've got good scores. And today I posted a formula. Every state is different. For example, the qualifying score for Pennsylvania is 217, but the qualifying score for New Jersey is 222. Right, so that is a calculation that you can do. And then you have the SAT and the ACT. Okay, so this is the time that you take these tests. And I highly recommend taking the PSAT in the 10th year, in the sophomore year, so that you have a baseline and you can improve on. Trust me, if your child gets a bad score, please don't be depressed. My son did so badly in PSAT, but it was an eye-opener. I knew where we needed help, and I had a fantastic English tutor for him. So please, the more mistakes they make in their practice tests, it's the better, right? They rather show you the true things in the practice test rather than the real one. Okay, so these are the typical scores that is needed. So for national merit, SAT is 1530 plus. Don't quote me. This is like approximate scores that the top colleges need. Okay, and ACT is 34 out of 36. Okay, next, essay. Oh my God, this is the most critical component of a college essay. I'm going to dispel this. If there's one thing you're going to take out of this webinar, is that essay is extremely critical. Okay, even I don't know, it's just me. I feel like it's even more important than grades or standardized test or anything. Trust me, I've seen so many students who've had not so great grades, but their essay was phenomenal. Okay, and I'll go over the exercise that I do with my students to get a phenomenal essay. And you must be thinking, oh, I should write about, I went to Africa to this village and I did this community service. It can be as simple as revealing your deepest passion, and I'll tell you more about it. Okay. So the other factor is extracurricular activities, letters of recommendation that I mentioned previously, and demonstrated interest. Demonstrated interest is something that you show in your Common App, whether you're doing early decision, early action, all that kind of stuff, okay? So essay. What are they looking for in an essay? It has to stand out. As who you are, it's got to be emotional. You don't need to have a most tragic incident in your life. to make it emotional. You can make it interesting. It's got to be unique, something about you, and specific. Okay, and quick. Don't drone. This droning thing is what my son used to do. I mean, he would not come to the point even at the third paragraph. Oh my God, that's how some students are. Okay, so I have a wonderful exercise that I do with my students. So I have a pre-med girl that I was coaching yesterday, and we went over the essay writing. So we identify emotions, okay? Identify emotions, and we identify reflections, okay? That we have an outline, my students have about 3 outlines for their essays, okay? And it's totally unfair to expect a junior to write a 650-word essay out of the blue. Okay, I'm going to lock my child in the room and he's got to write a 650-word essay. It's not as simple as that. Okay, trust me, I've gone through that. And I feel like it's not hand holding, but they need guidance. Okay. And that's when I figured, after working with like seniors and seniors who had no essay ready, it was like a week to submit the Common App and we didn't have an essay. Right. So that's why I'm going to have an essay bootcamp. I mean, if at all you're interested in enrolling your child for it, please subscribe in my website. Okay. So I'm going to go through this whole process. Ethan Sawyer, the essay guy, is my absolute guru for college essays. And he has a wonderful methodology, which I subscribe to. I mean, I'm a member of his subscription, so I'm allowed to use his materials, where we have a whole process of digging deep into our reflection, right? And also specifically for pre-med, you've got to show empathy. You've got to answer this question, why you want to be a doctor, okay? And it cannot be superficial, okay? So the thing about essay is it does not have to be fantastic. It has to show who you are. That's it. And let me tell you that it's like the onion, right? You peel the layers and layers and layers, and you get into the core. The admission officer is trying to see your personality. Who is this person? Right? That's the question you need to answer. Yes, you've told about all your achievements, your grades, your extracurriculars, your recommendations. Everything is phenomenal. But who are you? That's it. And to get to that, in 650 words, it's got a beginning, it's got a middle, it's got an end. It has to be a fantastic opening, because the admission officer has like 2 minutes for your application. So it has to catch his attention. So it has to have a fantastic opening, right? So that's the exercise I went over with my pre-med student. Okay, so we picked 3 words. She picked growth, she picked laughter, she picked love. And for each one, we dug into reflections, why she used the word. Then for growth, she said, oh, you know what? I didn't get into HOSA as an officer. I got so mad. So I started a bio club. Okay. And I just started it as a whim, as a revenge. But I went ahead and I grew. My knowledge grew. I mentored kids. The other people are growing. So you see, it's a simple story that reflects her personality. So we said, okay, so we have this core story. How are we going to build the whole 650 words out of it? So we came up with a smashing opening. I was raving mad. I was so mad. I wanted to cry. So you see, then the admission officer is going to look at this. Oh my God, why does this child want to cry? I perhaps have to read some more. So that's the way you go about it. So enough about that. I get very passionate about essays, because that's one thing that I feel like most high school seniors, they struggle with. It's not fair. You can't just tell them, hey, come on, go write a 650-word essay, right? Without giving them a framework. Okay, so what are the essays that your senior would need to write? One is the Common App, which is 650 words. But if you're applying to the UC schools, they have a separate thing on they need other essays as well. And then you need essay supplements, which are very specific to the college, which are like 300 or 350 words. Okay, it's very specific. Like for example, my student got into UMD, Purdue, RIT, Penn State, all these colleges. So we had to, when you go into the Common App, the prompts will come out. So we had to write so many essays. And then there are short answer essays as well, like one line essay that you have to write. So pretty much you're going to be writing 20 to 25 essays in the senior year. That's why I don't advise my students to do any standardized tests. That should have been done in the junior year, because this is all about essay. And not only essay, you have your course load. You still have your course load and the APs, your deliverables, all that going in there. So August to October to December is dedicated to the common application. Okay, and I do have a phenomenal essay coach. I have a couple of essay coaches. One girl, pre-med, she got into Northeastern. This essay coach was good. And another essay coach that I have is an ex admissions officer at Columbia. So the reason why I have essay coaches is you write a draft, they review it because they have been admission officers, so they know what they're looking for, and they will like help you with the grammar or the structure. It's not editing, it's reviewing. Okay, so that is it. And please make sure your child is not like my son. My son put everything in the last minute, and he was so overwhelmed when the essay coach gave him a lot of edits. So it have significant amount of time. Like what I see is my essay coach is like, there's a huge demand just 15 days before the application submission. Nah, that's not good. You start in August, and you have enough time to go over couple of reviews for that. Okay, so let's talk about extracurriculars. Ninad, how are we with time?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Okay.
35 minutes in.
Got it. Okay, so let's talk about extracurriculars, which is again an important concept or a component. Your extracurriculars has got to be impactful. It's got to have passion, and of course, try to be unique. But if you can't, it's all right. You have 10 spaces in the extracurricular. In your Common App, you have 10 spaces. So your leadership has got to go absolutely on the top. So what I do with my students is we start filling up from the bottom, because they come to me from the freshman, sophomore year, and then we build it in the senior year to that. And also I have a lot of extracurriculars that I recommend to my students. They're exclusively for my students. So we have a lot of them. We keep accumulating that, and then we put it all together in the senior year to see which is most impactful and all that. And of course, your community service has to be there. Got it? So basically, what are they looking for in extracurriculars? It has to be in a meaningful way that aligns with your child's goals. A positive impact would be good. And also a lot of times children just focus on their extracurriculars within the school. I feel like you should expand your horizon to outside of your school as well. And extracurriculars also can be like I also have a nonprofit, so that my students get an opportunity to do a lot of stuff there. I have a student who wants to get into the STEM. He likes coding, so we're going to have a hackathon for for kids, and also we've had hackathons for the African American students in the Philadelphia Futures, and we do a lot of nonprofit work. So that is another thing that you can do, like hackathons or so many other activities. have another student who's exceptional in public speaking and debate and everything. So he's going to conduct a course in that. And then my most favorite student just released a book, a chess book called Legal Attack. Okay, so he's going to teach chess, 4 free lessons, 4 free sessions of chess lessons from his book. So these are the kind of things that I help my student build. Okay, and of course, leadership and impact. Okay, this is my absolute favorite. Okay, communication is the key to success. I can't emphasize that enough. Your high schooler needs to have assertive communication, needs to know how to make new connections. Even high school, like there's going to be like a professor or somebody who comes there. How is your son going to approach that person and ask for opportunities? Okay, so day before yesterday, I had another pre-med girl who was asking a professor for an internship opportunity. How do you communicate? Okay, how do you ask? You don't just go, oh yeah, hey, can you give me an internship opportunity? No, that's not how it is. It's like, how can I contribute? Okay, so the way we crafted our whole communication was, hey, I'm this and this. By the way, I have extra time in my hands because of COVID. How can I contribute? Right? So how can I give? That is like the thing. You first show your value before you ask for things, right? And also, you've got to let know others about you, right? Who you are. Okay, you have a teacher who forgot to put your homework in and your grade fell. So how are you going to communicate with that teacher? To do that, right? And recommendations. Oh, you need to have good recommendations, right? So how are you going to communicate with the academic staff and everything in school? And let me tell you something. Counselor is the god in college. He's going to write. He or she is going to write the recommendation in your college profile. So how are you going to make an impact? Right? So these are some things that I coach. And I use the Tony Robbins methodology. I'm a Tony Robbins certified life coach, where I teach verbal and nonverbal communication. And also for teens, the biggest fear in communicating is not about what words are going to come out of the mouth, but it's more about how the other person is going to react to what they have to say, right? So that is the biggest fear, not just in students, but in adults as well, right? So I have an effective way of reading people and tailoring your communication to meet their needs, right? And different techniques that they need to be taught, right? And also understanding your beliefs and knowing how to respect others is also extremely important. Okay, I had a teen who went and blurted something out on social media, right? But it stays forever. So those are the kind of communication that a student needs to learn and imbibe. Okay, so the other considerations for the college admissions are positive recommendations from educators and mentors, right? So I had a student who volunteered at a place, and that person gave a very favorable recommendation that looks exceptional. Demonstrated interest is when you apply for colleges, whether you're doing early action or early decision, it shows that you're serious about that college. And of course, community involvement. Anything that you do should always have your common app needs to have some hours or some positive way of community involvement. Okay, and summers of high school years, like I mentioned, summers are not, I wouldn't recommend for academics. I'm sorry, don't quote me, but that's the way I would structure it. Summer is for looking for internships, local jobs, even working in a store is good. It shows that you're independent, or something like that that adds to your overall application. So what colleges are right for your kid? It's based on their interest, their talent, passion, their academic progress, program, the graduation rate, the financial scholarship, all these play a role in selecting a college. And college visits, they're sort of redundant these days because of Corona. My son got into Georgia Tech. We've never even gone to that campus. I've never visited any campus because he didn't want to. So I don't, but it's always good to go check out the facility, because one of my students like went to a specific place, was it upstate New York or somewhere, and said that the campus was too dreary and too cold and he didn't want to go. So that's another thing that is good to like physically go and visit. Okay, senior year, that's a very critical year. It's like you need to have a good blend of schools, which is like more likely a good match, reach, safety. It's you need to have a good blend. Okay, then you have to look at all the financial aid and everything. I mean, FAFSA, CSS, look for scholarships, and I'm going to tell you where you got to look for scholarships, and also like review your essay, your recommendation, transcripts, scheduling interviews. I can't tell you how important a college interview is. Okay, it's not like it's the decision-making criteria for getting into college. It's for making connections. The people who interview you, the alumni who interview for like Ivy Leagues or top 10 schools, they are massively successful people. So you sort of make connection with them or network with them. I know a student who interviewed for a Harvard. He was a Harvard alumni who interviewed him. He didn't get into Harvard, but guess what? He struck a relationship with them. And this guy was a hedge fund owner and he got an internship there. How lovely. So that is why you need to go after these college interviews, because it's just network. They want to mentor, they want to guide a youth. Okay, so my son also had a wonderful experience. I don't know which school, I forget. Was it Duke or Yale? He's never been to an attorney's office. So this guy had written some fantastic books on law and everything. And he got to go meet and speak to him, and he has a mentor, right? So that's the way this whole thing goes. It's like hustling your way into high school. Okay, so financial plan, it's just not college costs. I mean, just not tuition, it's an overall college cost. I hope you have the 529 plan. In Pennsylvania, I live in Pennsylvania, so we have a very good PA 529 plan, and I have enough saved for my son's college. And so, I mean, I think so. So, and then look for scholarships and everything. Okay, so I segregate my students based on what track they want to go. And if they don't know where they want to go, I have different tests that I do and evaluate to figure out where their interests lie. So basically, if it's a pre-med track, of course, you need volunteering in nursing homes, math and science competitions, research, and other things. For STEM, of course, math and science club, looking for competitions. Oh, there's an honors section in your Common App. So it's a very good idea to put in any awards that you've gotten there. There is arts track also to create your portfolio and all that. And yeah, so in the senior year, you have the CSS and the FAFSA and the different options that you have. And also you have the private loans and the federal loans. Okay, scholarships. A lot of people assume that they'll get scholarships, but merit-based scholarships are really, really hard and so few. Okay, so these are some of the scholarships that are available there. My son did get into the final for Coca-Cola, but he didn't win. Okay, let me tell you a secret. There are tons of scholarship. There are there's a lot of donations within your school. So your counselor, again, is your best friend. Got it? So your counselor and your principals know a lot about it. So it's a good idea to dig in your own school to look for scholarships. And of course, I can't emphasize the more APs and the college credits you do. You don't have to do, those credits will be carried over to your school. Can you please mute them, please? Can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. So like I said, my son had enough credits in Georgia Tech that he shaved off a year, so he can do his master's as well. but a lot of IVs don't accept it, but they like to see it in your profile. Okay, so what is the secret to high school success? It is basically your high schooler discovering their strengths and weaknesses, their talent, their passion, their interest. Okay, it's not just academics. It's everything. Okay, and that goes to show, like the essay, extracurriculars, all these are something that is extremely important in a college resume. Yeah, be a self-starter, maximize organization, time management, master communication skills, and look for opportunities. Push yourself. Okay, so this is my formula. Social plus communication skills plus executive functioning. I mean, it's not just my formula. It's a proven formula. Actually increases your academic growth as well. Okay, so before I open up, I just want to let you the services that I offer. I offer college planning for high school, a comprehensive college planning. Okay, if you don't want complete college planning, you just want essay review, I have exceptional essay coaches. And you want to just review your Common App, it's always good to have an extra set of eyes to look at your Common App, senior year especially. Then if you want to build a college plan on your own, I can help you with that as well. And since I'm an executive functioning coach, I help with study skills. Okay, like how to effectively study, test taking, notes taking. I teach the Cornell way of notes taking, which is like effective notes taking. And executive functioning, which is the prefrontal cortex of the brain. I coach kids as well who lack planning, organization, or time management. And ADHD is the lack of certain executive functioning skills. I teach that. My public speaking and communication courses are very, very popular among the area and online. It's a fun-filled course that I conduct. Of late, I haven't because kids are so sick of the Zoom lessons, right? So that's where we are at. So this is what I have. This is my contact info.